Okay. So, again, good morning. My name is Destiny Pokalsi. I am the Data and Engagement Coordinator, serving as an AmeriCorps Public Ally at the Indianapolis Neighborhood Resource Center. We are excited to offer our virtual info session series with you all. These sessions are always free and a space for us to share important and timely resources with neighbors. This morning, we're happy to welcome representatives from Visit Indy. So, we're going to start off with Morgan Snyder. Morgan Snyder is the Senior Director of Public Relations and Film at Visit Indy, the city's official destination marketing organization charged with increasing leisure and business travel to Indianapolis. Morgan serves on the advisory board for Full Circle Development, an initiative that aims to create vibrant and inclusive neighborhoods in Indy. Next up, we have Brad Bobian. Brad Bobian, American Institute of Certified Planners. Brad is an award-winning certified urban planner who serves as the Director of Destination Development for Visit Indy, working to leverage the economic and inclusive power of tourism for the long-term benefit of Indy's people and places. In his role, he works to implement planning investments that make the city an attractive place to live, work, and visit. All right, and last but not least, Kathleen Headington. Kathleen Headington is a seasoned and event professional and destination experience manager at Visit Indy, where she champions sustainable, inclusive, and high-impact conventions that elevate Indianapolis as a top-tier host city. As a certified meeting professional with nearly 20 years of experience in event planning, youth programming, and nonprofit leadership, Kathleen brings a values-driven approach to every project. All right. All right, take it away.
Right, thank you. Let me get full slides up for you. All right, here we go. All right, so good morning, everyone. So as noted, Visit Indy is the destination organization or tourism agency for Indianapolis and Marion County. And while we are really focused on visitors and fun and events, all that's really how we do our work. Why we do our work is to actually build a better city for everyone, including all of our residents. It's actually part of our mission statement. So we want to share a little bit about what that means to you today. And so again, just really quickly, Brad Wilbian, Director of Destination Development. That's about building a better city. In a previous life, some of you may have worked with me when I led long-range planning for the city of Indianapolis under both Mayor Ballard and Mayor Hogsett. And Kathleen, I'll let you talk about yourself a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Good morning, everyone. Well, Destiny, I think, went over a lot of it, but again, worked with Brad on the neighborhood toolkit. So excited to share with you all a little more about that resource and really just hear specifically, and I'll share more later, but about how we can help groups that are coming into the city engage with your neighborhoods and leave a positive impact while they're in the city.
And I'll jump in and say hi. Morgan Snyder, Senior Director of Public Relations and Film. I've been with Visit Indy for 14 years on our marketing communications team, a downtown dweller, and excited to talk to you about why Visit Indy exists and maybe some of the resources that each of you might be interested in order to leverage the support that Visit Indy gives to the city as a great place to live, work, and play. Okay, so if we look at today's agenda, I know we have the next hour to go through some of these components and saving time for questions at the end. So write them down and we're happy to tackle each of those. But we're going to talk about Visit Indy. Again, what is Visit Indy? How familiar are you with Visit Indy? How can you use Visit Indy as a resource? And speaking of resource, one of the neighborhood event toolkits. This is a new toolkit resource that the destination development team has launched earlier in the year, and I think will be very beneficial for each of you. Social impact opportunities, Kathleen will tackle destination vision work, some of the great big overarching projects that's really benefiting our city. Brad will jump in and provide you an overview on that. So, and then again, time for questions. So let me talk to you a little bit about Visit Indy. If you're not familiar with us as an organization, we are located inside the Indiana Convention Center downtown, and our job is really in our title, which is to get people to visit Indy. In 2012, we changed our name from the Indianapolis Convention and Visitors Association. So if you ever heard of ICVA, that is us, rebranded, and now we get so much time back in our lives because we don't have to answer the phone saying Indianapolis Convention and Visitors Association. We are Visit Indy, and our job is to get people to visit Indy. But as Brad will talk about too with some of these large projects, just making sure that we are at the table to have these conversations to ensure that we are being great stewards of our city as a destination for residents, for visitors, and making Indianapolis a vibrant destination. So, inside the Indiana Convention Center, our office is comprised of about 58 team members. We are a destination marketing organization. Some people say tourism bureau. And we are the official sales and marketing arm for the city of Indianapolis. So this is our team right here in the lobby of Visit Indy, and we are comprised of several different departments that work together to achieve our goal 365 days of the year. And interestingly enough, a lot of us work on projects that are years away, decades away in this city. So we have a robust sales team on a day-to-day basis. They are out there meeting with meeting planners, and their job is to get meeting planners to sign on the dotted line to bring their convention to Indianapolis. So next week, when you see 70,000 gamers in this city for Gen Con, there is a person on our sales team who has worked with the meeting planner based in Seattle to get them to say Gen Con should be here convening in Indianapolis year after year and signing that contract so that we can welcome this convention. The reason for that is bringing visitors into our city. That is bringing outside visitors into Indianapolis spending money and therefore increasing our economic impact into the city, which benefits each of us. Destination Experience, which is the team that Kathleen is on. So a sales team gets to secure the business, sign on the dotted line, and then it turns over to Kathleen's team who makes the magic happen. Right, Kathleen? Our sales team sells it and they put it all together, making sure that everything is as seamless as possible. Convention attendees want to be here. They're excited to be here. They know the game plan for what it looks like when they're here in Indianapolis, and making sure we're putting our best foot forward. Housing, trying to fill all of those hotel rooms in this city with these conventions coming into the city. We have marketing and PR team, which is about a 12-person PR team that works on the leisure aspect and the meeting side of visitors into Indianapolis. What are we talking about? What are our stories as a city? What is the media saying about us? Operations, making sure we're rolling out an effective business, and then destination development, which again is the team that Brad is on. It's a 3-person team that is really looking at the future of Indianapolis. What do we want Indianapolis to look like in 5 years, in 10 years, in 25 years, and making sure that we are approaching that with Indianapolis in mind for both residents and visitors, and again, being great stewards. So some really long-term, incredible planning there. So why do we do what we do? Again, to bring people into Indianapolis, make Indianapolis a vibrant destination. We bring in about 29.2 million visitors into this city. And when people come, they book their hotel rooms, they go out to eat, they go see a show, they step inside a museum, and that is outside money coming into Indianapolis, again, benefiting us all from an economic impact perspective. Actually, I will tell you, last year, 2024 was the strongest year we have had in visitorship to Indianapolis. And you might think about 2024 and all the incredible events we hosted in this city, from the solar eclipse, from Taylor Swift, from swimming trials. It was just one event after another, NBA All-Star. And again, we closed out 2024 with our best year in tourism in our city's history. So when we bring all of these visitors into the city, it in turn pumps in about $4.4 billion of economic impact. I think nobody wants to talk about it, but if you ever go back to the year of 2020 when you didn't have tourism coming in and you didn't have conventions filling the Indiana Convention Center, you feel that gap and that hole of not having visitors into this city. So it's a big business. It's an important business. And it is really what fuels hospitality jobs and a really strong workforce in this city. So nearly 30 million people coming in, $4.4 billion of economic impact, and then about 83,000 jobs are supported by the tourism industry. So again, really important. If we don't do our work bringing in the convention attendees and the leisure visitors into the city, then that's less hours for housekeeping at a hotel or less hours for a server at a restaurant. So it benefits us all. You want to go ahead? So we are operating, it fluctuates a bit every year. We're operating at about on a $15 million budget. And if you know CIB, Capital Improvement Board, they are the key decision maker and really where our funding is coming from, the majority of our funding. We are also a private partnership or a partnership model as a destination marketing organization where entities in the city like restaurants and attractions pay a nominal fee to be a partner of Visit Indy, and it is then our job to help get people through their doors. So 20% of our funding comes in to that $15 million from private partnerships. The remainder is typically about 80% from the Capital Improvement Board, equaling about a $15 million annual operating budget, which isn't as large as we would love it to be, especially in comparison to some of our other neighboring states and cities for tourism and a destination marketing organization. You may know or you may not know when you check into a hotel, because we don't always read all the fine print numbers, right? But you have your hotel room rate and then you have a room tax. And so Indianapolis's room tax is a 17% room tax, or you might heard innkeeper's tax. This goes into a pot of money. So the more hotel rooms we are booking as a city, the more visitors we're having coming into Indianapolis, whether it's a leisure visitor or a convention visitor, it is going to fuel that 17% room tax and that pot of money, which then goes to the CIB and then trickles down into how that benefits our annual operating budget. I mentioned private partnerships, where about 20% of our annual operating budget comes from. But, you know, when you think about our neighborhoods, there are so many incredible small businesses or some of our key institutions like the Children's Museum. Again, these people and these institutions pay into Visit Indy a nominal fee to be a partner. And so when you go to visitindy.com, these are all the places you're going to see that we're promoting. We, as a partner of Visit Indy, it is our job to help get these leisure and convention visitors through the doors to these restaurants, tell their stories. And once a partner of Visit Indy, it does open up a lot of additional benefits to be a partner. So we're right at about 700 in the city. And I always encourage any of you, you know, from your neighborhoods, if there is a small business operating that has a really incredible story, we need to know about it. We want to know about it and we want to promote them and we want to get visitors into these doors and expose this incredible institution or destination that you can only find in Indy. I think that's something that's really important to us. What makes us uniquely Indy? Just a quick few snapshots. You know, when you think about your neighborhoods and if there are any businesses that should be a partner of Visit Indy, some of the things we can do to help elevate them. We go on about 13 radio stations in the city around the state of Indiana and in central Indiana. And our marketing team, you can walk by our desk on a consistent basis and you'll hear somebody in their radio voice saying, if you're coming into Indianapolis this weekend, here are some of the top things you should see and do. And it's a great way to talk about what is going on in our city to radio listeners. There's a partnership directory. We should all be working together to uplift Indianapolis as a vibrant destination. So let's share our contacts, let's network, let's be with one another and talk about those opportunities. Going on to visitindy.com, this is where you'll see all of the beautiful marketing photos and listings. And we spend paid marketing money to get eyes onto visitindy.com and into some of our blog sites and our promotional opportunities through visitindy.com and then e-newsletters to tell people, residents and people coming into the city, what is new and cool and going on in Indianapolis. Daily deals, a coupon system, how to get some great deals in the city. I think it's really important to understand and be a partner of Visit Indy to understand the conventions that are coming into Indy and then being prepared as a business to welcome these visitors. And so having access to a complete, robust convention and event calendar. I won't go through all of these, but there are several benefits to being a partner of Visit Indy. And we have a full partnership team that can help with that. Just as I mentioned last year, we were record breaking in 2024, and we love our hype videos as a city. So I threw this one in here. Brad, if you want to go ahead and play this record breaking video.
"2024 in Indy was big, massive, epic. Put simply, it was record-breaking. An unprecedented lineup of blockbuster events elevated tourism to new levels. All the pieces lined up, and we shattered what we thought possible. Fittingly for Indiana, the year kicked off with a celebration of hoops as the best in the NBA lit up Lucas Oil Stadium and Gainbridge Fieldhouse during All-Star Weekend. With spring came a gift from the universe as a total solar eclipse shined a light on Indy over a record-breaking weekend for leisure tourism. Summer saw Lucas Oil Stadium transform into the world's largest natatorium, putting Indy in the spotlight for 9 days in the lead up to the Olympics, breaking every record and every expectation for a swim meet. As the leaves turned, Swifties flocked from across the globe to turn Indy into Swift City over 3 nights, while setting a new bar for concert attendance on the Eras Tour. Indy's convention business rode the momentum. Groups we know and love saw record attendance. Plus, new groups made us believe that the future would be sweet. In 2024, Visit Indy booked the most group business in our city's history. As the buzz hit a fever pitch, visitors came in droves to soak in the excitement. The impact was felt across central Indiana, as every metric for measuring travel was left in pieces on the ground. The bar has been raised. As we do, we will scrap, we will fight, we will push ourselves, and we will rise to meet the challenge. It's what we do, because this is Indy.
Yay. Well, thanks for letting us share that. It really is just a spotlight on everything that goes on in the city. And before I turn it over to Kathleen, just, keeping in mind that tourism is big business. It does really benefit us all in our neighborhoods. I would encourage you to introduce us to new businesses coming on board or new amenities within neighborhoods and to really use us as a resource. So with that, I will turn it over to, I believe, Kathleen.
Thanks, Morgan. Brad, I think, are you sharing a little bit about the toolkit first?
Sorry,
Yep.
Toolkit, Brad. My fault.
Yep. So actually let me get the screen back to where it should be. All right. So a little bit, so we've heard a little bit about what Visit Indy, what we are, what we do, who we are. We wanted to share a little bit about how we're starting to better connect out with you all in Indy's neighborhoods. And so as you just saw, Indy hosts the world's best events. It's an incredible strength of ours. We got an incredible ecosystem of facilities and people and talent that make all of those huge events possible. But we also know that visitors are wanting more authentic local experiences, things that they can't get in any other city. All of us on the team sit behind one-way mirrors and hear from focus groups that visitors have, or too many visitors have a bland perception of Indianapolis. They know that we've got a great downtown, but what else is there in our city? We know that we want to spread the economic benefit that visitors bring. So all that the spending and those jobs that are created from when visitors come here with their families, we want that to benefit more places across our city. And we also want to be more inclusive of all the stories that we tell across Indianapolis. It's not just about downtown. And finally, we know that all of you, I know this from my days in city government, that there's so much pride out in our neighborhoods. And we want to be able to help you all as leaders in neighborhoods share that pride with more people about where they live. And so we wanted to take really what we are great at, which are those big events, and help more neighborhood scale events happen to add some of that seasoning, that personality that gives Indy a great sense of vibrancy. And so we worked over the past really couple of years to really talk to more than 24 people out in our community. And so those were leaders of existing neighborhood events. And so when I say neighborhood event, don't think Final Four or Olympic swimming trials. Think the Cottage Home Block Party or the Feast of Lanterns on the Near East Side. Think about the Rocky Ripple Festival up on the north side, or even the Acton Memorial Day or Christmas in Wanamaker event that happens down in Franklin Township. Those smaller scale neighborhood events. And so we talked with leaders of those. It wasn't just our expertise downtown, it was how leaders on events out in our neighborhoods, how they were working, organizing, doing things. And then we also interviewed people in the public sector, so the people in government who permit and regulate these types of events. And so think public safety, the police or the Homeland Security team, the parks departments, the public works teams, the health department, alcohol and tobacco people at the state, all of those people that have to come together to make an event happen. We worked with them to try to translate what they do and the things they need and the resources they offer. How did that translate down to a neighborhood scale person who doesn't do this for a full-time job? And so that all came together in this thing called the Neighborhood Event Toolkit. And so if you were at Neighbor Power this spring, hopefully you saw our team there. We actually had the book that you see on the right. We were handing those out. And actually, if you want one of those books, you're not a digital person and you want a print version of that, at the end, you'll have my email address, and please, you can send me an email and I'd be happy to mail you a copy. But otherwise, you could scan that QR code or go to that website on the screen and you can access the PDF and digital version. There's also some supporting files and resources like template budgets and template press releases and things like that that you can access and customize to make your own. But the purpose of the toolkit is really to help all of our neighborhood leaders out there create memorable events. And so it is designed for first-time people that have never done an event before, but also people who have done this and might be considered experts. It's a free resource for you, and it is designed to walk you step by step from big picture all the way down to porta potty placement and everything in between about what's needed to pull off a special event. And so what's in it? This is kind of the table of contents, but we start off with coming up with an authentic event. And so we don't need 15 RibFest, right? We want 15 really special events that really tell the authentic neighborhood story. And so this section helps you understand, and where do you discover what is unique and special if you don't know? How do you identify the target audience who might be interested in that story that you identify? And then how you identify calendaring and goals and what types of activities you might be able to bring to your event. And then we talk about getting buy-in from the community. And so this is how to be a good host. Parking and traffic and music and noise and all those things can be disruptive to neighbors if you don't get them on board. That can become a challenge, and we don't want that. And so we talk about how to be a good host, and then really also about how we communicate early and often with our immediate neighbors. We talk about establishing a team or an organization. And so this is kind of the volunteers or the committee or however you want to organize it that come together to actually do the work. And so if there is an event committee, it's informal. We also talk about sometimes these events are affiliated with a neighborhood association or a place of worship or something like that. Oftentimes they're their own independent organization, and there's a whole formal structure and incorporation and things like that. And so we talk about those kind of different options about how you might start with one place and grow to another, so that you have the sustainability, so that this event lives kind of beyond the initial founder that has the energy. There's a huge piece on volunteers, and so that's how you find them, how you schedule them, how you train them. And then how do you kind of acknowledge or reward them for helping your neighborhood pull off an event? Volunteers are really the secret sauce that make virtually every event possible, including the big stuff downtown. So understanding how you work with volunteers is really important. And so we've got some insights on that. There's a huge section on logistics and operation. So this is everything from liability and insurance to safety and security, contracting talent or vendors, things like that, health and sanitation, like hand washing stations and porta potties, power, ice machines, all sorts of things like that that can kind of get overwhelming. You just want to pull off a neighborhood event. All of a sudden, you're asked to be a lawyer and a site vendor and an ice machine expert. And so this is really important. And there's a lot of insights, especially from our on-the-ground neighborhood event leaders that we talked with. There's a piece on timeline and work plan. And so this is what happens before the event. This is what happens actually during the event. And then there's a whole section of advice on what you should be doing after the event to think about what comes next. Budgeting and fundraising, we do provide on the website. There's a template for a budget that you might be able to start with, but how do you create a budget? How do you fundraise? Where do you go to get resources to kick this things off? And then how do you select contractors and suppliers and all of that? Hopefully find resources within your neighborhood, but we give advice on how you do all of that. And then there's a programming piece. And so this is the entertainment, the activities. Again, neighborhood events are all over the place. And so some have music, some don't, some have food, some don't, some have vendors and things like that. But we provide some advice on how you put together all of those programming partners. If you have alcohol at your event, that's a whole nother level of complexity. And so we do talk a little bit about that too. And then finally, we have marketing. And so what is the name of your event? What is the branding, the website, social media advice? How do you engage with local TV or print media, signage, promotional activities, all of that. So that people are aware and get excited about what you're doing. We've got templates and advice in there for that. And then in the back, we have helpful contacts. And so this piece is probably the piece that is going to become the most dated. And so we're trying to keep it updated as personalities change. But we do have contacts to help you, to help connect you with all of the different government type of partners that you will need to interact with when you pull off your neighborhood event. And so that's in a book. It's about 32, 33 or so pages. It's a pretty nice size booklet. And again, if you want a print copy, email me and I'll mail you one. But we also complement that with some online training. And so it does not replace the book, but it kind of augments it and provides some additional insights. And so we have this website called visitindyacademy.com that you can visit. And these, you can sign up. It's completely free to sign up. And there are 55 bite-sized kind of on-demand lessons that are mostly video. So there's about 2.5 hours total of video content that we put together. And these are people from our staff at Visit Indy, the event organizers that I talked about that were part of our research, and then some of the government permitting and public safety, IMPD, is in there talking about how what they do and how they can help. And so you can sign up for this, participate. When you're done, you kind of get a certificate of completion. It's completely free. And you see 2.5 hours and like, that's pretty intense, but it's in bite-sized chunks. And so these are 3 or 4 minute videos and you don't have to do them all at once. And so, and you can also just focus in on the types of programs that you want. I'll also drop a note that on the visitindyacademy.com, we also have another program. There's only 2 programs on there right now. The other one is called Super Service Training. And that is actually a customer service training that we put together initially when we hosted the Super Bowl to help our frontline hospitality workers be better kind of stewards of the Indy story and providing exceptional customer service. And so if you're in that sort of world, that program still exists. It's not a video-based program. It's kind of more of a slide-based one, but that's another program on that website that some of you might be interested in. All right, Kathleen.
Excellent. Thanks, Brad. I hope you all get a chance to spend some time in that Visit Indy Academy. There's a lot of great content, similar to what Brad talked about, right? If you just want to learn something about budgeting or something about programming, you can go in and just watch those videos too. So I think that's really helpful. You don't have to do the whole 2.5 hours, but lots of great information if you're just starting out, or even if you've done it for a long time and just have some additional questions. But that is not what I'm here to talk with you about today, as excited as I am about that toolkit. It's such a great resource. Today, I am here to share a little bit about Indy's social impact. So sustainability in Indianapolis, that is something that, lots of times when people think of Indiana, it's not always the top word or, the top topic that people think about. But what we have realized on the Visit Indy side of things is there's a lot of sustainable things that are happening, and we are not always telling that story well. So we are trying to do a better job of finding out what is happening in our community, what our partners are doing, what our attractions are doing, what you all are doing, boots on the ground, and be finding ways to partner with you to elevate those opportunities, to educate where we are able, and be the connector. So that's really our hope when it comes to sustainability. When I work with groups, I always tell them, Visit Indy, we own nothing, we manage nothing, but we connect everybody. So that is something that you will hear us talk about, right? You are the ones that can really make the impact, and we will do whatever we can to support you along the way. So I just wanted to go over a couple of things. If you are not deep in the sustainability world, you may not have heard. So the United Nations created 17 Sustainable Development Goals. I'm going to read through those real quick. You do not have to commit them to memory. You can also go on the United Nations website or just Google those 17 SDGs, as they're kind of known. But those are listed as no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation and infrastructure, reduced inequalities, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below water, life on land, peace, justice, and strong institutions, and partnerships for the goals. So I think it's really helpful to hear some of those, because lots of times when you hear the word sustainability, you just think of recycling, and it is so much deeper than that. And that is what we as an organization want to make sure that we are partnering and lifting up, right? It's that social impact or stewardship, as you may hear that language being used. But it's so much deeper than just the recycling or the waste management, right? We want to create a community, as Brad and Morgan talked about, that people want to stay, and they want to live, and they want to play, and they want to enjoy. And we want all of the convention guests that come and the tourists that come to want to come back, to bring more friends, to bring their family, and to have a really great experience. So one topic that I wanted to share with you, if you have not heard of Thrive Indianapolis, that is the City of Indianapolis's Sustainability and Resilience Action Plan. So that plan has 4 core values, which are capacity building, equitable services, fiscal responsibility, and poverty reduction. So there are a number of elements that go into those core values, including, right, similar things like I talked about with those SDGs, but energy, economy, transportation, food and urban agriculture. You can look all of that up on the Thrive Indianapolis. Just Google that, or look up the Office of Sustainability. But those are some really good things to be aware of. There are a lot of resources on that website as well that can help neighborhoods and the places where you all directly live and play and stay. And so we want to make sure that we are communicating the great work that the Office of Sustainability is doing for you all and your neighborhoods, and help you feel like you have the tools to engage and make a difference in your own area, whatever that looks like, right? So whether that is a collected trash cleanup, or if it is serving a local nonprofit organization, or helping elevate buildings that need support, or things like that. So again, lots of great resources there at Thrive Indianapolis. When it comes to tourism, conventions, and events, There are 3 different areas that we focus on when it comes to sustainability and its initiatives. So those are kind of those transient or visiting guests to Indianapolis conventions and their attendees, and then those one-time big events. So think WNBA All-Star experience, which happened last weekend in Indianapolis. So each of those has different impacts on the city itself. But there's also different educational opportunities for each of those events, right? It's going to be a different experience for someone that's coming for a convention that's here for 3 or 4 days versus someone that pops downtown for, a meal, or someone that is there for a day-long experience. But Visit Indy works in all 3 of those areas to educate and elevate initiatives to promote a more sustainable experience through environmental awareness, diverse vendor offerings, accessible event experiences, and more. Which that is one thing that I also want to touch on, right? Under that sustainability umbrella, which is really big, is accessibility. And on the Visit Indy website, there is a Visit Indy accessibility guide. And so that has a lot of opportunities for you to explore accessible attractions or partners that are here in Indianapolis. And what I always ask too, like Morgan mentioned earlier, we are at our best when we can promote everything that's happening in the community. So that includes if you know something that is either inaccurate on the website or that should be added to the website or to our resources, please let us know. If there is a vendor or someone that's doing incredible work in your neighborhood, please let us know, because we want to be able to share that with those visitors that are coming into the city. In terms of community partnerships, so a couple of things in this area. One, right, my day-to-day job, I am working with meeting planners that are planning events here, either at the convention center, at local hotels, but lots of times they're coming to Indianapolis and they either have organizational goals or personal goals or a theme of their conference that they want to find a way to connect and give back to Indianapolis. They want to, as a former Girl Scout, they want to leave the place better than they found it, right? So we want to be able to have those partners ready and those opportunities ready to share with them so that it's a really easy process for them to connect and leave a great impact in the area. So I would love for you all to brainstorm and start thinking about what are projects in your neighborhood that you could use support. Are there, donations, or is there lots of times that a convention might have like bring school supplies that they could donate to a local school, or bring art supplies that could be donated to be used at a local nonprofit. Sometimes it is sharing an Amazon wish list that is an easy opportunity for them and their attendees that they can click before they even have to hop on a plane. They don't have to take anything else in their luggage, and it can have a really big impact on your neighbors and your organizations that you live alongside day to day. So think about those. Again, would love to connect with any of you and learn more about how we can elevate the organizations that are doing really great work for you. A couple of other resources that I want to make sure to share. One is last year for that Olympic swimming trials that Morgan mentioned earlier, there was a resource created called the Event Waste Guidebook. So that is all linked in the neighborhood toolkit, but it's a really great resource too about just day to day. Hey, if you're looking for a way to manage waste or a way to engage in a more sustainable way in your neighborhood, lots of resources in that guidebook. Again, Thrive Indianapolis. There's lots of great free energy assessments, grant potential. I would also encourage you to promote and share Sustain Indy on your social networks. So that's the Office of Sustainability. They've got lots of tips, lots of great, there might be a free training on, I think I saw something on heat pumps recently, right? That can apply even just to your homes. So lots of great opportunities to learn and grow there. Second Helpings is a great partner among many others, and want to just encourage you to look into some of those organizations. Keep Indianapolis Beautiful also has opportunities that you can adopt a block. See if your block in your neighborhood has been adopted, and if not, can you and some of your neighbors do that and take care and pick up waste and things like that. And then the last thing, I know Brad is trying to encourage me to move on, so I could talk all day, but just I would encourage you to get engaged, right? So volunteer at events that are happening in your neighborhood. Share about your community, share that on socials, tag us, find ways to elevate what you guys are doing. And like I said, at the end, you'll see, reach out, would love to talk with you more. And I will pass it back to Brad, I believe.
All right. Thanks, Kathleen. It's my first day running PowerPoint. Sorry, guys. So the last piece we want to talk about is kind of our long-term planning work. And so again, I might have worked with some of you guys when I was doing this for the city and county, but Visit Indy does do long-term kind of planning work through our sister organization called Tourism Tomorrow, which is kind of our future-focused nonprofit organization. And so we have this thing called a destination vision plan. Other communities call it a tourism master plan. But for us, it's not really focused on tourism. It's really focused on the intersection of what tourists or travelers are desiring, but also what residents want. We kind of operate in that lane of the Venn diagram. So it's our long-term strategy for making Indianapolis a better place. Our current version of this plan launched in late 2020. It's due for a refresh that will be starting next year. But there are about 65 to 70 different specific actions in our current destination vision plan that we're really focused in on. And that's everything from cultural experiences out in neighborhoods. That's about the economic engine that those 83,000 men and women depend on to feed their families, as well as how do we just make Indianapolis a more attractive place, again, to live, work, and visit. And so the website is indydestinationvision.com. You can scan that QR code as well. But I want to focus in on a couple of the projects that we've been spending quite a bit of time on that kind of touch some of our neighborhoods. And one is the White River. And so back in 2019, when I was at DMD, we launched the Regional White River Vision Plan. It was a partnership with Hamilton County. And we're now about 6 years post launch of that effort. And it's incredible the amount of investment that all of our communities are making. And so you just see some of the images here. And these are things that are actively under construction. The Henry Street Bridge and the Cultural Trail expansion across the White River. That bridge is going in right now. Riverside Adventure Park was an initiative of Mayor Hogsett to put some bond money into accelerating the implementation of that idea. That was a former golf course that was kind of gated, that got taken offline, and it's now a pretty wonderful nature park that has the photo you see there, I think is Indy Park's best playground. I might be biased there, but it's kind of this nature themed, whimsical playground. There's also a new canoe kayak rental launch in that adventure park, and a great network of trails. And coming soon will be an archery center, and working on designs for a yet to be funded but exciting nature center in that park. Fisher's up in Hamco, they're of course doing some amazing things. That's a new park at 96th Street, 120-acre brand new nature park that's under construction, should open later this year. And then downtown, kind of Indy's backyard with White River State Park, that is expanding on the west bank of the White River south of Washington Street. And that piece is under construction right now in a $65 million investment. So this idea that we've got a national park like experience, it stretches 58 miles. You can go to a wild and quiet experience down in Southwestway Park, down in Decatur Township. You can have a national touring act at a Live Nation concert venue downtown. And you can have some pretty amazing playground and community experience at some of our parks on the north side. Or you can go to an art museum or the Indy Art Center and create your own art. There's so much you can do related to the river, and we're excited about continuing to help steward that work, including celebrating the completion of the Dig Indy tunnel system, which will address the combined sewer overflow and make all of this possible with a much healthier river. And we'll cut the ribbon on that system later this fall. And then even broader than the river as far as connecting neighborhoods, is we are really excited partners with DPW and Indy Parks and some regional partners on the regional Greenway and Trail Network. And so we've been working alongside with them. The city is investing something like $150 million And that's city money, that's Central Indiana Community Foundation investment, and there's a large chunk of Lilly Endowment investment that's coming in there, and all that's coming together to create some pretty impressive enhancements. I think the amount that we're investing in is more than we cumulatively spent to date over the entire system. And so it's a pretty phenomenal investment. And we're excited to come alongside that. And so this is just the map of the systems. You can see there on the left some of the pieces that are under construction or funded coming online. We have been working with CICF and DPW on how do we tell this regional story. It's even beyond Marion County. And so later this fall, we'll be launching a website called Greater Indy Trailways that will talk about what you can do, where you can go, and how you can do it along the Greenway system. I think everyone knows maybe the Monon Trail or the Nickel Plate or the Pennsy, or they know the trail on their side of town. But we don't believe that people understand the breadth of the system and how far and how much you can do and how many different neighborhoods and places you can connect with just by using this park-like experience system. And so we're coming alongside to tell that story. There will be a wayfinding kind of on-the-ground sign sort of package that comes along with this that tells you not just the trail that you're on, but where else you can go, what's next to it. There'll be some pilot implementation of that system coming online, and then hopefully over the coming years that will spread across to the entire regional trail network. And so that's a little bit about what Visit Indy does, how we are increasing our connections with neighborhoods, and how we'd love to work more closely with you. This is our email information. I'll leave this up for a little bit before I turn it back to the photo screen so we can have questions and conversation. Again, if you want a print copy of that toolkit, please reach out to me there at my bbobian@visitindy.com email. If you've got opportunities for kind of service work or needs, reach out to Kathleen at her email there. So with that, we'll open up the floor to questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brad, Morgan, and Kathleen, for that excellent presentation. I learned a lot. So yes, if you have any questions, you can put it in the chat and I will read it for you. Or if you want, you can come off mute and ask your question now.
I have a quick question. I am the Near West community builder, and so I work with several businesses and organizations on the Near West side of Indy. And I'm curious about your partnership opportunities. Are those tiered opportunities, or do the opportunities look different if your business is a restaurant versus something else?
Yep, I can jump in. It is tiered based on the type of business and size of business that you are. And I will also put in the chat our lead contact information. John Soborowski and Justice O'Neill on our team head up partnership. And if you have entities in your neighborhood that you think would be great partners for Visit Indy, I would love to connect you, and then they could give you what that annual partnership due is, and then what benefits are unlocked with that partnership.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, we have a question in the chat. It says, on your website, there are 8 neighborhoods listed. I'm working with a neighborhood CDC. How would we work with Visit Indy? How would we work with Visit Indy to list that neighborhood?
I'll take that too, Morgan.
Sure. I would also love who is asking that question. Put that link in the chat for me. I want to see that page on visitindy.com. Again, would love for you to reach out to us. I will say this is something that we are working on, and even from we talk about how visitors go from neighborhood to neighborhood and they don't know where the geographic line is, right? They don't know when they cross into another neighborhood. Same for our donut counties. So when a visitor crosses into Hamilton County, they don't, there's not like some magic confetti sign or whatever that comes out that says you're now in Hamilton. They don't know. And ultimately, many visitors don't really care. So we're trying to do a better job of promoting Indianapolis holistically as Central Indiana, and not just ensuring that our visitors can get out of downtown core and into some of these niche neighborhoods that have really incredible hidden gems. So highlight, if you can, drop in the link of where that is on our website that says those neighborhoods. And then please do reach out to us. Thank you. Okay.
I might also add,
Yeah.
when it comes to, so the neighborhoods that you see there are like the obvious ones, right? And they're obvious because they have a certain cluster of things that are attractive to visitors, and not all neighborhoods are able to say that. And so we continue to do work with the great folks over at Metro Development and the planning team over at the city. And you may know that recently the City County Council put in some additional money for cultural districts. If you've been around Indy for some time, I think Mayor Peterson back in 2003, I think, launched the Cultural Development Commission and the Cultural District Program, and that kind of gave rise to those kind of 5 obvious neighborhoods. And so we've been talking with the DMD folks as they think about how to kind of relaunch at least an interim or early version of that program, of what that might look like, so that more neighborhoods are able to participate. And there's more of a continuum about how do you take a neighborhood that has some great bones and some great assets, but maybe not the concentration of visitor amenities that are really desired, and how do you start there and kind of grow it. And so hopefully I ask you to stay tuned to some releases coming out of the city about what opportunities might come out of that program.
Any other questions?
I think more than a question, I just wanted to thank you for all the work that you do. I am the neighborhood advocate for downtown near West Side, and I can't tell you the amount of times that I meet with, visitors, and they love the Visit Indy website just to be able to navigate it. And I think it'd be great to try to get our team to maybe set up a meeting with your team, because since we do cover all of Marion County with different neighborhoods. I think it'd be interesting to see, how we can further help you guys get those new businesses and that kind of work. So yeah, just excited to reach out and see if we can get that set up.
All right, thank you. I'll be in touch with Natalie and Anna, speaking on the near west side, the Belmont Beach story. So I worked closely when Brittany Crone, now at Indy Parks, but was in your shoes. And so it was really fun working with your team over in the mayor's office to make that really cool neighborhood project happen.
For sure. Thank you.
All right. Any more questions? All right. Well, with that, thank you so much for your time and for this amazing presentation. We're really excited about a neighborhood event toolkit and all the resources in it, and some of the other resources that you shared as well. If you could send me the slides, Brad, Morgan, or Kathleen, so I could share it with the rest of all the attendees here, that would be great. And then maybe also your emails as well, to send that out. But thank you so much, everyone, for joining us this morning and spending your morning with us.
Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Oh, yes. And then also we're going to send out the recording from today. So in case there's someone that that you think, could really take advantage or like learn a lot from this lesson or this session, you can share that with them as well. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all.
Thank you.